Hi there, I'm John from CNCKing.com, and today we're going to make custom Lamacoid rulers. We can literally make rulers out of any material here in the shop, from stainless steel all the way to Lamacoids. Each has a positive and negative. In this case here, the customer needed it to be a Lamacoid, which is why we use this. And the nice thing about a Lamacoid is you could get two different colors. So here we have white Lamacoid with a black engraving. So that's the advantage to Lamacoids, because you can have multiple colors. So if you want a red on white, blue on green, whatever, we can actually get that. You can't really do that with stainless steel or mild steel or any sort of fiber etching. And you can sort of do it with wood, but then you have other sort of issues to contend with. So what are some alternatives to Lamacoids? The most obvious one is stainless steel. In this case here, the customer didn't really need to use stainless steel. It costs a lot more, but the etching is completely permanent and will never wear out. Another one was anodized aluminum, and for the same sort of reason, it costs more. But more importantly, the timeline for this was they needed like almost the next day. So that wasn't really possible either. Although we can cut both materials, not a problem at all. It did take a couple of days to get the material in the shop and process it and so forth. So Lamacoid was basically the only choice we had in this case here. Now, the nice thing about Lamacoids is that, as you can see, it engraves really, really fast. Now, this isn't real time, of course. Definitely a lot slower in real life than what you see in the video here. But you get a nice precision that you don't really get with a CNC router. Now, again, we have a CNC router in the shop too. We have two of them. And I prefer to do this kind of work using the laser over the router. And the main reason is resolution. With a router bit, you're always defined, or you're always limited by the bit diameter. So, yes, you can use a very, very fine, small bit to do this kind of work, and we've done it before. The disadvantage is that the smaller the bit is, the more prone it is to breaking, and that's a whole other headache to deal with. And the other reason is when the bit goes through the Lamacoid, it actually lifts off a little bit of material, or chips, or causes other issues that you just don't have with the laser, because there's no actual contact. And that's something to sort of wrap your head around. The laser never touches the material, other than the bed, of course, that you're engraving or cutting. It just sort of floats over it and stuff happens underneath. And while with a router, you have something pushing and pulling through the material, and that's why you get the chipping and other sort of issues that would happen. Now, the disadvantage is, you can see right here, there's some smoke that lays on the surface of the Lamacoid. And there's no way around that, because you're essentially burning through the top layer to do the engraving, and then you're burning through to cut out the piece. But everything is a plus and a minus, but overall, I think the laser is a more superior machine to be doing Lamacoids than the router, for these kind of specific jobs, of course. Something to keep in mind with Lamacoids is, yes, you can have a whole bunch of different colors, variations, and so forth. And that's really nice, but it is, at the end of the day, still plastic. Now, when it comes to plastic, it's very much affected by heat. So the more heat there is around the plastic, the more it tends to want to warp on you, either this way, that way, that way, that way. You also have the same issue with polycarbonate and acrylic and so forth. So when it comes to making custom rulers specifically, there's a limitation as to the length we can actually do it to fit in the machine properly. And also when you have, again, the heat distortions. Way around that is actually to put a backing. We've done that a lot of times. So basically you have, in this case here, it's 1/16 inch Lamacoid. So what we do is put like a 1/4 inch or 1/8 inch MDF backing on it. So then, even if there is some heat distortions, it's not an issue, because it's got a solid backing to it that's wood that does not distort from the heat.